You're driving normally, pavement underneath you, wheels doing exactly what wheels have done for thousands of years. Then the road disappears. Maybe an earthquake destroyed it. Maybe there's a giant pile of debris in front of you. Maybe you're trying to reach somebody trapped where no ordinary vehicle can go. Normally, that's where the driving stops. But Hyundai looked at that problem and basically said, fine, give the car legs. And I'm not talking about some movie prop. Hyundai actually unveiled a concept called Elevate, an ultimate mobility vehicle designed with 4 robotic legs. And there's a wheel at the end of every one. So on a normal road, it drives. But when the terrain gets ridiculous, the entire vehicle can stand up and start stepping over it. I don't know who walked into that engineering meeting and pitched a walking car, but I'm glad somebody listened. Because once you see how it's supposed to work, the idea actually makes a surprising amount of sense. Think about an off-road truck. You can give it huge tires, raise the suspension, add 4-wheel drive, lock the differentials. Eventually, though, you hit an obstacle that's simply too large. A wheel still has to roll over whatever is in front of it. Elevate changes that relationship completely. Instead of forcing the wheel over the obstacle, the robotic leg can potentially lift the wheel above it. Each wheel sits at the end of a multi-jointed leg. Those legs can extend, bend, and reposition themselves. That means the vehicle could theoretically drive across ordinary terrain efficiently, then switch into a walking mode when wheels alone aren't enough. And the movement Hyundai showed wasn't limited to one direction. The design was intended to use different walking gaits inspired by animals. It could step across uneven ground, climb over obstacles, and move its body while keeping the passenger compartment relatively level. Now think about where something like that could matter. After an earthquake, roads can become completely useless. Concrete slabs are everywhere. Cars are crushed. Buildings collapse across intersections. First responders might get within a few blocks of someone who needs help, and then have to continue on foot carrying everything they need. A vehicle with robotic legs could potentially move farther into that environment while carrying equipment, supplies, or injured people. Flooding creates another problem. So do forest disasters, rocky terrain, and remote areas where proper roads don't exist at all. And Hyundai even showed another use that I hadn't considered. Accessibility. Picture someone using a wheelchair arriving at a building with stairs and no proper ramp. Instead of forcing the passenger to adapt to the building, what if the vehicle adapted? A walking vehicle could theoretically position the passenger compartment closer to the entrance or navigate obstacles that normally make access difficult. That's when Elevate stopped looking like somebody built a transformer for fun. There's a legitimate mobility idea underneath all the craziness. But here's the important part. You're not ordering one from a Hyundai dealership tomorrow. Elevate was unveiled as a concept in 2019, and Hyundai has continued exploring the broader idea of vehicles that combine robotics and transportation. The company later established New Horizons Studios specifically to work on what it calls ultimate mobility vehicles. One of its subsequent projects, Tiger, took the idea in another direction with a smaller, uncrewed vehicle combining wheels and robotic legs. So Hyundai didn't simply make a cool animation and forget about the concept. The company built an entire development effort around mobility beyond conventional roads. And mechanically, that's a nightmare in the best possible way. Think about everything the computer needs to understand. Where is each leg? How much weight is on it? Is the ground underneath stable? How high is the next obstacle? Where should the wheel land? How do you keep the cabin from tipping while several legs are moving? A normal suspension mostly reacts to the road. A machine like this would have to actively negotiate with the terrain. Every step becomes a calculation. And then there's power. Moving a vehicle on wheels is incredibly efficient compared with picking up a large portion of its weight and physically stepping forward. Walking mode would demand serious energy. The joints have to be strong enough to support the vehicle. The system needs to survive dirt, water, impacts, and probably years of abuse. And if one leg fails while you're halfway across a pile of concrete, that's a slightly bigger problem than getting a flat tire. So there are plenty of reasons we don't already see walking cars everywhere. But that's almost beside the point. What Hyundai demonstrated was a completely different way of thinking about transportation. We've spent more than a century designing vehicles around roads. Smooth them, widen them, build bridges, build ramps. Everything assumes the environment will accommodate the vehicle. Elevate flips that around. Make the vehicle accommodate the environment. If the ground is smooth, roll. If it's broken, step. If something's in the way, climb. And that's what makes this one so interesting to me. The future car might not simply be faster, electric, or autonomous. Maybe the biggest change comes when we stop assuming a vehicle has to stay planted on 4 wheels. Because once those wheels grow legs, the road stops deciding where you can go.